This is the 17th season of Bass Talk Live with your hosts, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pingrack. BTL is brought to you by Lawrence, Bass Cat Boats, APCO, Ducket Fishing, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, Exo Lures, Yamagatsu, The Bass Tank, and Denali Rods. BTL coming at you. Good Monday, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where Matt and I are going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, let me ponder here. You went crappie fishing over the weekend.
I did go crappie fishing yesterday for a couple hours, but I had to make sure I was back and everything was done by 7 p.m.
What, you had a curfew? What?
Well, no, I figured you would open up with your analysis of episode 3 of Yellowstone.
No, it was good. I watched it. It was great. It was fantastic. The mood continues. The carnage continues. We will see what happens. That's all I'm going to say about it. It was good. Yeah, no, it was really good.
I got out. Everyone who has followed this knows that I have just a slight obsession with crappie fishing and the perfect conditions. To me...
Man, why are you talking so soft?
Because I looked at some of the replays, and I kind of, like, when I get excited, I feel like it kind of blows out my audio just a little bit. Like, it's got a little to it.
Yeah, but now you went completely opposite.
Okay, well,
on the way. You're
talk normal then.
You're soft.
Mark, I really love... See, can you hear that? It's like a little...
I can turn you down,
okay,
but you got, like, your FM voice going, dude.
Okay, well... I'm actually working on trying to get an FM voice on the show, which I told you about beforehand. Very excited. I don't even want to jinx it right now, but it's like a really cool guest that hopefully we'll have in December. So everyone who listens knows that I'm a big time winter crappie guy.
Yes, you are.
John Sokup, ding ding ding, from the Bass Tank got me into that like three years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And I kind of take it and do my own thing. But you need light winds, like 3 to 6 miles an hour. Dead still is not great. It makes them a little finicky. It's better to push into a little bit of a ripple, and you want some stable conditions, which we had. Water temperature dropping, which it was like 51, 52.
Oh, low 50s.
Yep, and some bait fish, not too much to where you can't see because I'm forward facing sonar targeting them, and I hit the absolute perfect conditions yesterday, and I caught my third biggest one ever, like tied for second or third. It was on the digital scales. I put it up on my Instagram.
Did you keep it?
Let the giant one go, but
okay.
We kept 25 of them. The limit's 37, no length on them. It's crazy.
Is that lake to lake or is that statewide?
It's statewide unless you get on like Grand or some lake that has it, but the statewide is. But look at that one, Mark.
It looks pretty big.
277.
Okay.
That's
your PR?
Yeah, it was a bigger crappie than any bass I caught in 4 of the opens this past year. To put that into perspective. So.
Well, you were hunting. That's not fishing, dude.
Yeah, 100%
That's hunting.
Hunting. Yeah. Allegedly, I've told this on the show before, Lefty, the 37 was when the Oklahoma was coming up with it. It went into the House of Representatives or the Senate or anything, and at the time they came up with the rules, there were 37 of them. They didn't know what a crappie was, so they said one for each of us. So that's
37.
That's how it came up. There were 37 in it. So.
Interesting.
West Coast vibe this week on the show. Only 2 shows this week, right, Mark?
Yeah, I have a convention. I have a convention thing on Wednesday that I have to go to.
Convention?
Yeah, it's a gathering of the minds.
Sports related?
Yeah.
Or teaching?
Basketball coaches.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But Ken Mah today, and we'll just kind of let him explain it, but basically he won $100,000 in 2 different tournaments in a 24-hour span.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
That is really
out there
cool.
with the Wild West, the Apex Tour on Berryesta, and the Pro-Am, which was the day before, on the California Delta, and basically one of the days was postponed, or the Apex was postponed till the day after. It just the way it worked out. It'll never happen again. And he won them both.
Yeah.
I've known him for forever. I've known Ken for a decade now, since our ill-fated World Series. I was trying to look at the World Series of Bass stuff. It's slowly getting culled out of YouTube when we did the deal where the guy skipped out, didn't pay, and all that.
Joe Habib?
Yes, Joe Habib.
Yeah.
But that's how I met Ken, and then we just kind of stayed in touch ever since.
He's a stick on the West Coast, man.
And has been for over 20 years, I guess.
Yeah. Long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
And then tomorrow, Andrew Loberg is going to be on the show, who earlier this year won back-to-back Toyota Series on the West Coast, finished 6th overall in the Toyota standings, and we're going to talk about what his plans are for next year. A young dude who's won a lot, who is on a roll, and that'll kind of wrap up West Coast Week.
Gonna be fishing the TWPC next year, right?
I think so. I'm not sure. I haven't specifically asked him about that. That is the rumor that we have, but yeah.
All right. As I like to do on this show a lot, and some people like it, other people don't, but it is what it is. Something went down Saturday night in the college football ranks. Dude, was one of the greatest moments that I personally have experienced in college football, both as a fan and as a parent and everything else. It was just, I just sat there in awe. Any idea what it was?
It wasn't Kansas's 2-point conversion.
Oh, yes, it was.
Where they beat
By
Texas?
Gosh, yes. They were a 31-point underdog. They dominated pretty much the entire game. Texas is on a 5-game losing streak. And the Chicken Hawks, dude, it's been like 18 years since they won a Big 12 road game or something like that. I don't know what the stat is. It was just so enjoyable and fun to watch. I was actually screaming at the television.
It softened the blow a little bit of OU's collapse against Baylor.
We won't even talk about that.
No.
That was just a debacle. But I will say this. Here you have somebody that is making $6 million a season being the head coach and is supposed to be one of the most brilliant minds offensively in the game, and you come out and go handoff, 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 and run a vanilla offense the entire game pretty much. Your biggest gain until they had the long pass play was some trickeration. I don't get it. All right, now I'm going to throw this back to bass fishing. All right, highly compensated person in Lincoln Riley. Very highly compensated. But it seems...
OU coach.
It seems that there is a trend, and has been for a long time, that when you fail, you truly don't fail because you have that guaranteed money in place. Like you could go out and go 0-13 or 0-12 and whatever. They decide you're not welcome around here anymore, but we got to fulfill the contract. Here's $4 million for the next 3 years because you were unsuccessful. It's kind of just a rarity that exists in human occupation, except for some reason in the professional athlete and the college and professional coaching route. You get very few other situations. It's always people that make a lot of money. Sometimes you have that
Brian
situation.
Robinson fired up again.
You have some people.
Have him contact me on
That's
the show
fine.
again.
Bring it on. Okay, bring it on. There are situations in business where you have the same situation where CEOs get fired and they've got some ridiculous contract in place where they still get paid $20 million and they failed and brought the business completely down. All right? Can you recall in this industry, and we've been doing this a long time, Matthew, can you recall anybody that had a massive buildup from not only a performance standpoint, but also from a marketability standpoint that failed and then dropped off of the face of the earth? Because those type of agreements, be it small at a much, much smaller scale, I just think it's never happened in this industry. Can you recall anybody that was really built up either because of a product, maybe a television show, maybe what they did in college, they signed this big deal, and when I say a big deal, they get $20,000 maybe. And then they go out and they do not perform on the water. They do not increase sales. And next thing you know, their name's no longer associated with that product.
But they're still in the industry?
But they're still in the industry.
I mean, no, the only one that a lot of those guys I think would have left on their own terms, I think. I mean, I like I said, we always circle back to this, is the Michael Bennett deal. He had the massive team deals with Duracell and then Febreze and all that. And like I said, I don't know his exit from it, but I mean, that was a guy who was 21 years old, 22,
millionaire,
23, winning millions of dollars. And then, I mean, the upside to him was, holy cow, this is the next coming, right?
Yeah.
Because that was before Jacob Wheeler. You know, Michael Bennett won the $1 million in 2008. Wheeler did not win the All-American at age 19 or 20 until, I believe, 2011.
Huh.
So, you know, you have to remember that was before, right around or before the time Brandon Palaniuk, there wasn't that. You know, Justin Lucas wasn't that guy now. So, like, Bennett was this young millionaire who was the face of FLW.
Yeah.
And only fished in one more cup after winning it, and actually only fished the pro circuit after winning it for 2 more years. I mean, everyone would have lost a bet on that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good one. But I just thought, you know, and somebody out there is like, oh, you're going to comment on a college football coach and you're not going to comment on the NPFL. Well, the facts about the college football coach is, yes, he does make a lot of money. That's factual. He's a state employee of the state of Oklahoma. He makes, I don't know, $6 million a year, whatever it is. And he threw out a vanilla product on Saturday.
He was also coming off of a 17-game winning streak.
That's factual
6
information.
Consecutive Big 12 championships. So I feel like you might be overstepping your bounds. I feel like it might be a guy who has one bad tournament and you're like, he's done. I mean, it's fine.
Did I
He'll
say
be
that?
back.
All I'm asking is, did he earn his $6 million that he's getting paid?
If he's bringing money into the university, I thought of someone else.
Oh, so it's back to money.
Yeah, I thought of someone else, Mark.
It's not about performance. It's about the money that he's bringing into the school.
I thought of someone else.
You just said that. Mark that down, folks. Matt Pangrac said that it was about the money, not about the performance.
Well, it's about the overall value.
Wow.
The overall value. The better they do, the more valuable they are. But yeah, I mean,
unbelievable.
As a whole,
they're going to get their head caved in when they go to the SEC. I'll tell you that right now.
Here's another one that might be interesting. Is this guy was a record holder? He had one of the big non-endemics, Preston Clark. The Beef O'Brady's catching all those giant fish, and his last year on the Elite Series was 2008. That was 2 years after that 2006 season.
And that whole situation was because Beef O'Brady said, nah, we're going to take that money and we're going to pull it over to an LPGA golfer. That's the story behind that.
I would also put Gabe Boulevard in that. These same guys keep kind of coming up. But guys, I mean, maybe that's just because when I was getting into it and I noticed it, but I was trying to think of possibly over the past, like recently, someone who's really jumped on the scene and then is just gone, like over the past 4 or 5 years, and no one really is coming to mind. Is it for you?
No, I just don't think the money's not there. It's just not there. It's not.
You know where the money is, though, Mark? And we'll use this as a
Go
transition.
West, young man.
No. It's at Table Rock Lake this weekend. Johnny's got it all. So
the $1 million.
We got to talk about this before we get to Ken Mah. And we've mentioned this. The name of it is what it is, the U.S. Open. It's the U.S. Open, where you fish for the Aaron Martens Memorial Trophy now. Classy move by Billy Egan. Is one bass, completely unrelated to Johnny Morris's Bass Pro Shops U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Which had qualifying events. And remember, we've had people on to talk about it. They're doing the $1 million deal. You had all these qualifying events, $400 a person, $900 a team. You had to have a White River Marine boat. You had to finish in the top 40 of a 250 boat qualifying tournaments that they had. They had a last chance qualifier. There were some college teams that got in, some like 30 teams that got.
So how many boats are vying for $1 million?
That's where I'm getting.
Okay.
They had a bunch of team tournaments where if you won the Angler of the Year and it was a White River certified trail, you got into it. So basically this week, 350 teams, 2-man teams, are at Table Rock Lake competing. And I got to pull up the prize list because it's just the prizes in this one tournament is like what Kevin Van Dam's career is. It's insane. So 350 boats. And I can't find this anywhere, but I know some guys that are fishing in it. And the way I believe it is 350 boats fish one day, right?
Yeah.
Best 5 fish. Don't come in late. I read in the rules, if you come in late, DQ'd. There is no late penalty.
Not good.
So then after day 1, top 200 move on to fish the second day. So 150 teams go. You finish below 200th, you're irrelevant. Go home. Thanks for coming out and buying a bunch of stuff at Johnny's place. Then, after day 2, they cut to the top 50. The weights are zeroed. It's live on NBC.
Which is cool. Yeah.
And you're fishing for $1 million. The team is fishing for $1 million. These are the prizes at the championship. First place, $1 million, and each angler wins a Toyota Tundra and a 21-foot bass boat. Each angler.
Wow.
So $500,000 plus a boat and truck for each of you.
That's $100,000.
Yeah.
Over $100,000.
Second place, $200,000. Third place, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, and 10th place is $15,000. 31st through 50th all pays $2,500. The biggest bass wins a Nitro Z20. And then they have an all-female team, juniors, family teams, and veteran teams. But, dude, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
$1 million. And, I mean, you have 2 decent days. Like, decent days, what, 13, 14 pounds? 12,
this time
13,
of the year?
Yeah, 12, 13 pounds, whatever. You finish, you have it. 50 boats, 1 in 50 shot, $1 million. I'm trying to think, is this the richest, biggest pay? Like, is this the biggest tournament in tournament fishing history?
Yeah, amateur-wise, yes.
Even
I don't know.
Even
I
professional,
don't know if it's
though.
bigger than the Millennium.
It would be interesting.
I don't remember the payout, how far it went down and how much it was for the Millennium.
Mark, this is the biggest tournament in the history, as far as payout and depth and potential in the history of tournament bass.
Could be. Definitely.
I don't see how there's
amateurs.
not. Especially once you add it, you're talking like off-road vehicles, over $4 million in cash and prizes. I mean, it's insane.
So does it air live on NBC?
Yeah, that's what I believe. I believe on the final day. There's cool stuff for veterans. Every bass at 8 pounds or more receives an 8 pounds of Black Rifle coffee. That's just at the regional. Oh, yeah, that's at the championship, too. If you catch an 8-pounder on Table Rock.
That's pretty rare.
That's for the veterans, active military hometown heroes. Yeah. So anyway, this is going on. That's a lot of money.
That's good stuff.
But is it not brilliant? Is it not brilliant for Johnny Morrison and the people putting these on to bring them to Springfield, Missouri? 700 people fishing for $1 million. You know how it is, even on a club championship. I'll vouch for Ken on this. I bet he'll agree too. and he's probably a frugal, financially responsible individual. But you go into a tournament where you think you need something, and it's a big tournament, and you're going, yeah, I'm ordering that. I don't care. I'm not running out of those. Oh, an extra 200 here. I'm going to make sure I've got. There's only a couple of those tournaments a year where where the rubber meets the road, where it's like time to go all out. Time
Have
to
you
make
had
sure.
one of those?
Yeah, all 9 opens. That's why it's so far down on it. It's like, holy cow. At least I'm not Andrew Upshaw. That guy has, from the time we show up at practice to the time, he has a Tackle Warehouse box arrive every single day. It's like based on his days of practice. By the time the box arrives, what he's doing is anyway. But
wow.
So now Johnny's like, hey, I put all this money in. I'm getting all this. Let's bring 350 teams, 700, invite their families, bring over 1,000, open it up for all these pre-practice days. How much do you think they're spending at Bass Pro Shops at Springfield, Missouri, Mark?
Probably a lot.
Eating at his restaurants, going to aquariums and stuff. I bet he recruits
all that. Is it at
all
Big
that
Cedar?
I don't know. It's like the meetings at like the Gun Deal Club or something. He's got stuff all over that town.
Should be good fishing though.
I'm very interested in seeing how it goes down. I got a bunch of guys that I know that are fishing in it. The rules are like no elite, no professional tournaments or something.
So let me ask you this:
no $2,500 entry fee, and you can't have won more than.
Let me ask this,
grand.
Panger: is $1 million life-changing money in this day and age?
Well, it's $500,000, and then if we ask Daniel Whitehouse on how you have to take care of that, the attorney we had on,
is $500,000 life-changing?
It depends on who you are.
That's what I'm asking it. Is it life-changing?
No.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a nice.
Is this a life-changing tournament? Yeah.
I agree with that too.
But it's not. I mean, Yeah, I mean, if you're a
$500,000
guy who
is
doesn't
not
have much and you end up
life-changing.
with $500,000 and now you've got a Tundra and a 21.
You got a lot of
bass
tax
boat?
liability there.
Yeah, but now you're also, I mean, that will probably change the course of your life over the next 5 to 10 years.
Could.
Of what you're fishing and what
Could.
you can fish. And
Yeah. Be interesting to follow the people that win to see what happens
It would be.
post winnings.
Hey, did you follow the, I'm trying to wrap my head around this too, the Redfish Bassmaster deal?
I did. Didn't Zaldane win?
He did.
Yeah.
There's a lot of redfish on Bassmaster.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it
I
Sunday morning.
thought it was interesting.
It's pretty cool. Did you see they were using spinning rods?
Yeah, a
and
lot of
reels?
spinning rods and
Yeah.
stuff. Was that a Yamaha deal?
I have no idea.
I feel like everyone that was
I-
in it was a Skeeter Yamaha guy.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Noticed
dude.
that.
No idea.
Trend.
What would have been better, a redfish showcase like what they did, or a senior tour event with anglers who are over 50 that have been icons
I like a
of the
senior
sport?
tour event on the Great Lakes in September.
Oh my gosh, hanger.
Just bungee cord Bill to the front deck. Duct tape a spinning rod in his hand.
Oh.
Wish him luck and send him out on an
Woo,
angry
there
Lake
you
Erie.
go.
No nets.
Man, you are cruel.
No nets.
That is so cruel.
No cancellation.
Oh my gosh, Panger.
Just
That's
right
just
into
cruel.
the teeth of it.
That is so cruel. That would just be cruel. Well, folks, you can ponder that one, but that is evilness coming out in Panger on a Monday morning. That's just evil.
I mean, hey,
Evil.
if we're doing it for the views.
Somebody's going to get hurt, man. That's evil. All right, we're going to take a break. Come back. Little West Coast flair with Ken Mah. Everybody stay tuned here on a Monday. We'll be right back.
Elite FS puts the full range of Lowrance fish finding tools at your fingertips. Find fish with active imaging 3-in-1 with Fish Reveal. Target fish with active target live sonar and watch fish react to your lure as it happens. Built-in C-Map Contour Plus charts make it easy to find key fishing areas. But best-in-class charts and powerful sonar is only the beginning. It's easy to build your fully networked FS system. From sonar and waypoint sharing to controlling the Ghost trolling motor and power poles. Lowrance Elite FS. Targeting fish just got easier.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
There's one.
You know what works. Now you need a bunch of them so you don't run out on your next fishing trip. The Big Bite Pro Packs feature 25 baits per pack at a price far below that of having to buy 5 packs of regular baits. Now the Pro Pack has a big brother, the Mega Pack. The Mega Pack features 100 of your favorite baits.
With these, one bag is usually plenty to get through the day. It helps me stay organized, helps me save money, helps me catch more fish.
Combining one of the most popular hook styles with Gamakatsu's beefier Superline offering, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend delivers the strength necessary to target big fish in heavy cover. Well suited for braided line and heavier fluorocarbon, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend is built using stronger Superline wire that allows anglers to easily fish a finesse worm around heavy cover. The round bend offers a larger bite area, perfect for any worm presentation, while increasing your hookup ratios. The newly enhanced Z-bend holds your plastics on the hook longer, reducing the number of pull-offs and reducing damage to plastics. Available in 2/0, 3/0, 4/0, and 5/0, this is the most durable worm hook designed for heavier lines that hold your bait on longer.
So, you're looking to buy fishing electronics, huh? Are you also looking for true experts to help guide you through it? Well, at the Bass Tank, you've come to the right place. We are live forward-facing sonar pioneers with thousands of hours spent learning through winning trophies, cashing checks, and just having fun. Whatever brand you need, we have it. We offer free shipping, and we have 2 financing options available. Our experts are here to help you. Call us today or visit thebasstank.com.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
Everybody loves to chase bass on the water. But is your most valuable asset protected when it's not on the water? Empire Covers can preserve your bass boat against even the harshest conditions. When the storm is coming, that bass boat needs to be protected. Check out EmpireCovers.com for all your cover needs. Empire Covers is the ultimate solution when it comes to protecting that asset. Empire Covers is the ultimate solution in easy protection for your truck, for your boat, for your car, anything that needs to be protected from the elements. BTL listeners can receive free shipping plus an extra 15% off their entire order on EmpireCovers.com. Just use the promo code BTL at checkout. Empire Covers. Protect what you love. All right, we are back on a Monday, and Panger, you better watch out for the senior players out there, dude. They're going to be coming after you. Comments like that, jeez.
I was just going for entertainment value.
Oh, so you're preying on the elderly for entertainment.
No, legends.
Whatever. Jeez.
You get any fans at your senior bowling events? Like, you have people that come
friends
out
and
to,
family. Yeah. Friends and family.
I'd like
That's
to come
about it.
watch you in one of those.
Well, maybe one of these days they'll have one in Oklahoma. We'll see. They haven't come out with the 2022 schedule yet, so we'll see. All right, it is time to welcome our guest. And for those people across the nation that may not be aware of this guy, he is an absolute stick on the West Coast. And as we have mentioned earlier in the show, the feat that was accomplished by Mr. Ken Mah.
We'll let him explain exactly what it is, because it's kind of a twisted tale to get to where he got to, and something that at that level probably will not happen again.
Probably not likely. Just
$100 grand, 2 trophies, a boat.
Yeah.
In a 24-hour period on 2 different fisheries.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right, let's bring him in. Ken, welcome to the show, man.
Morning, Mark. Morning, Matt. You guys are building your West Coast followers here. I'm getting text messages and things. My buddy Rod Wynn is listening live.
Nice.
Oh, we need to get him on the show. That dude used to be a professional Madden player. You actually picked him to be one of the guest hosts when I was gone. We got to get Reality Win on. Run it.
Okay. You're the booker now, so get it done.
You would like his logo. He's got a Jumpman logo, except instead of a ball, it's a fish.
I've seen that.
Yeah, that's Rod's.
Yeah, I've seen that. All right, Ken, explain to the fans out there the feat that was accomplished here recently.
Yeah, so in short notice, there was an Apex Championship that was postponed due to literally us getting 5 to 7 inches of rain in the region, and the wind blew like 35 to 40. So Randy McBride, we fished the first 2 days. The weather was great on the Delta. Top 10 was established, and he told us live on stage that the tournament's going to be postponed to the following Monday, following the Pro-Am Championship, and that they weren't going to tell us the location until Sunday night at 4 p.m. after the Pro-Am.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of twisty, most organizations would postpone it a day. They may have called it. But with the Apex, it's really twisty. It's teaching us to be really flexible. So so that's what happened. And then the Delta immediately went off limits for the Pro-Am Championship for 8 days. Then the Pro-Am qualifiers fished Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I happened to win that event. And then Sunday night at 4, they told us we were going to Lake Berryessa, and we had to be there at 5:30 a.m. the next morning.
Wow.
How far away are those fisheries?
Door to door from where we were at, it's probably hour and 35, maybe hour and 40 minutes.
Same types of fish? Like how? I don't know anything about Lake Berryessa. Is it like a spotted bass deal or?
The two different fisheries. The Delta's tidal water, all largemouth bass.
Yeah.
It's the fish are in 8 feet or less when you win there. Berries doesn't have tides. It's kind of low right now, but it's Berry is kind of more like would fish more like Clear Lake without the tides.
Okay.
That has all 3 species in it. There's like world-class smallmouth bass in it, and then the largemouth grow big. I mean, you can catch teeners in there.
So, I mean, did you go into Berryessa? I mean, you had just won. I mean, what is that like in the turnaround? You have to deal with all of the social media stuff, the people, the calling, the winning. You've got all this, and now you go into was it easy? Was it tougher? I mean, did you know, like, oh, I'm going to win this one too? Like, were you just brimming with confidence?
I think, as you guys will know, you guys have covered people, and I think, when an angler gets in that groove, you're not really even thinking about it. You're just kind of fishing what's in front of you, and I think that's what's happened. I won an Apex event in August on a fishery that I've never been to at the Thermalito Afterbay. So between August and November, I basically won 3 of these in a row, and 2 of them were on back-to-back days. No, I didn't think about it. I didn't even think about the Apex Championship because I wanted to win the Delta Pro-Am Championship first. And even when they told us, they had told us at 4, I was checking in to weigh in, and the scuttlebutt on the dock that it was going to be, maybe between me and Dutra or me and Obedy Williams. I was in 4th and 3 pounds back of the leader. And I ended up catching the biggest bag of the 3rd day, Championship Sunday. So I didn't even think about when he told me, I was just shrugging it off. But I was up till midnight doing tackle because the tackle is completely different.
Wow.
Hey, is that Obedy Williams? Is he the Rippin' Lips dude?
Dude, yeah, he is. You got to have him on.
No, wait. So he's the Rippin' Lips dude who was doing that. He's done the kayak stuff, and now he's competing on the boater side and like catching them.
Yeah, he's always done a little bit of both, but yeah, that's the same dude. I mean, just he wakes up that way. That's the O is like the epitome of happiness, flair, and style. He wakes up like that. That's not a show. He goes to the bathroom and he's talking like that.
Do we want Ken, Mark, to give a little background on what the Apex series is and how that works?
Yeah,
because I think that's
quick.
Interesting. Just to talk, as short or as long, because it's kind of involved, but it's also kind of simple once you know it. And then I've talked a little bit about it on the show before, but it's a really cool hybrid format.
Yeah, it is. So I'll do it as quick. I'll hit the high points. Apex is the first tournament trail that requires anglers to have wrap boats, jerseys, and that you actually have to qualify for that we've ever had out here in our region. And there's 2 ways. So it's a 3-day tournament. The whole field fishes day 1 and day 2, and then they make a top 10 cut on day 3. 30-day off limits. There's no information, no practice. You show up on basically Thursday night. They do some community interactions. Friday morning, you put your boat on the water. You get 30 minutes to drive around a lake you've never been to. And it's kind of a scouting. There's no fishing. And then the bell rings, you start fishing. It's a hybrid format. So there's 2 ways to make the top 10. Okay, so the top 5 after 2 days who have the most scoreable bass, 14 inches or longer, which equates to, you know, 1 3/4 to a 2-pounder, depending on where you're at. And then the top 5 in total weight, because they do a weigh-in every session or each of the first 2 days. So at the end of the 2 days, you're going to have top 5 in scoreable bass, and you're going to have top 5 in weight. Those 10 anglers comprise the top 10. The weight's 0. Okay, the weight's 0. You roll out championship Sunday, and biggest bag wins the tournament on Sunday.
5 fish on Sunday.
5 fish on Sunday, yep.
And then it doesn't matter. You could have a 28-inch fish, and it counts for 1, and a 14 1/4-inch fish counts for 1. But your 28 also counts for your overall weight. So you have to decide, am I going for numbers? Am I going for size? I mean, that has to change over the course of the day, too. Like, I'm catching a bunch of keepers. Let's try to be in the top 10 here. Oh, I've got 3 big ones. If I just fill out a limit, I'll be in the top 10 there. But, I mean, that you don't have to pick. Like, that's the beauty of it. I mean, I would imagine that's got to be so much thought.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, I think we talked before the show. It is the most fun that I have had fishing a tournament ever in my life because of that. Because, you know, I'll give you an example. At Almanor, Jared Lintner and John Pearl on day 1, they caught like one scoreable bass each the whole entire day. Right? In a regular tournament, they're out of it. They're going home the next day. Well, the second day, John Pearl catches 22 scoreable on camera, and Lintner catches 19 on camera. Well, so they end up going from the bottom to, I think Pearl was like 2nd in scoreable bass, and Lintner was like 3rd or 4th in scoreable bass. They end up making the top 10. They have a chance of winning now.
Wow.
Yeah, so you're never out of it. You're truly never out of it. You know, like me and you know, Nick and Lintner, we like to fish for 5. That's what we've always done. We want to catch big ones. But there's been times in this format where day 1 doesn't go how we want it to go. So you literally will re-spool and rethink your approach for day 1 and say, okay, well, right now, 8 scoreable is in 5th place. I have 2. You know, so if I go out tomorrow and catch 14 of them, I can make the top 10 cut. But you would never be able to make it on weight.
But then you also run into it where if you're like, hey, I'm going to make the top 10, you have to like figure out some way, because then the final day is based on weight. So if you know how to go out and catch a bunch of 14-inchers, you're going to finish in 10th on the final day. So there's all sorts of strategy involved in that. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's the most fun. I mean, I'm sure, you know, other organizations, you know, everything spawns everything, right? Like, I mean, I've been a Bassmaster fan ever since I was a kid. So, you know, and in my opinion, you know, they're the best organization at catching 5. They give you the best format at catching 5. But then, you know, you look at BBT and what they did and all their growing pains that they went through. And, you know, if you want to fish, you know, that format, then they're the best at that. You know, and I think Apex and Jeremy DeHart they learned from both of those organizations over the years, and they came out with this truly hybrid format that caters to both sides in the same event.
Wow. So how many Apex stops are there during a season?
So this was our first season. It was 3. Next season, it's expanding to 4. And the idea is it's a slow build, unlike, you know, the MPFL, you know, they came out, you know, and they just dropped it on us. But the idea with Apex is it's going to be a slow build because we have to build the anglers up. You know, we basically want anglers, just like with Rick Pierce announcing that Western Bass Shootout. You know, it's a different culture in our region, so we got to train the anglers to truly be professional anglers as opposed to fishermen.
Makes sense.
And then to qualify for it, I mean, this is something that was like a couple years in the making, because I remember talking to you on the phone before where I was like, they're doing something cool, but I have no comprehension of what this actually is.
Right.
And then it came out, and then he was trying to explain it to me, and I was on the phone, wait, okay, cool. But I mean, you guys have you've kind of had a vision of this thing for a number of years, right? And they've had a lot of angler input in the format, the schedule, and who's in it, and how you get on it, and all sorts of stuff?
Yeah, yes, basically you did a great job at, you and I had like a 5-minute conversation about it, and I think it came up like 9 months, 10 months later. And you did a really good job of explaining, what it was. But yeah, it's been something that Jeremy has had on his desk for 2 or 3 years, and then it came to fruition this year. It takes a lot to do, as you guys well know. You got to bring the media, you got to bring the corporate support, you got to bring all those things, because without that, we were talking backstage before the show started. Where's the money at? Right? That's what Mark was saying. Like, they're
Shocker. Okay, so here's where I'm going with this. This is like kind of a unique deal. Is this an attempt to say, okay, yeah, we've got some Toyota series out here, but you're not seeing the Pro Circuit going out west, the Elite Series, they canceled it a couple years ago, they're not going out west. Let's build our own professional tour out west here where guys can make a living. And I see there's also a question up there like, can someone fish for a living only in California? Ricky was asking that. Is this kind of a for fun, make some side money, or is this like, hey, we want to build this into where we don't have to go out east and we don't have to field the questions like we'll ask you in the second half of the show? Hey man, you ever want to go from Guntersville in Florida and catch a bass and make the big time? Like, are you trying to build your own thing out there to where maybe you got people out east going, man, I want to go out west and fish that stuff?
100%. That's the goal. We as soon as we get, and when I say we, it's the initial 33 anglers, and then they've added, I think they've added 12 to 15 new anglers from the AOI list, and doing exemptions and things behind the scene. But yeah, 100%, Matt. That is the goal. The goal is to build the Apex Tour. They want to keep the number very low and exclusive, either around 50 or 60 anglers only. And then once we start pulling, Rick Pierce said this the other day. Once we start pulling anglers from Texas, the Dakotas, maybe even Western Oklahoma, and in Arizona and all those other states, once the tour is built, what it looks like today, is not what it's going to look like, say, in 2 or 3 years from now. And the goal of the payouts and the exposure and your ability to represent yourself as an angler, and for you to then also, quote, what I call pay your bills to your sponsors. Once that is in place and built, whether it's with live, social media, Apex does television. Once that's built, yes, 100%, that's the goal. The goal is to have that type of tour in the 12 states, to include Texas. That's west all the way. I wouldn't say Alaska, but all the way to the Pacific Northwest.
Interesting. So what does the future look like for Ken Mah? Obviously, you have a full-time gig. What are you trying to progress toward, Ken, when it comes to the time that you spend on the water?
Oh, man, I told you guys, man, and I say it to anybody that asks, I hate driving, Mark.
Me too, man.
Yeah, I hate driving. I tip my hat off, to a guy like Panger who puts a target on his back and says, hey, I'm going to qualify. Hallman and I are really good friends. And, as great as an angler as he is, it shows you how hard it is to qualify for that thing.
Yeah.
It ain't easy, and then, and a guy like Ike shows up and says, oh yeah, I'm going to fish these opens, and he's back in. So for me, Mark, until my full-time gig is done and I'm able to make that decision, I don't have any aspirations of going back east to fish any of those two tours. I think if I did, because I'm a purist, and along with Panger and Bradley, I would want to go catch 5, and if, for me, in my opinion, if I want to catch 5, I think the best format to catch 5 is the Elite Series. So if I start fishing opens next year, you'll have your answer. Nick Salvucci has asked me for the last 2 or 3 years to go do it. And until my full-time gig gets done, I won't make any of those decisions. I won't say it's completely off the board, but what I want to do is I really want to build Apex. And even Matt talked about One Bass, the U.S. Open. Billy Egan too. He's doing a tremendous job of drawing boats and things like that. But I really want to be one of the founding people, so to speak, that helped build Apex. There was only one original group that built the Elite Series 18 years ago, right? And look what it is, to this day. Just like there's only one group that's going to build BPT. There was only one group of 80 anglers that built that initially. So to sit back, 10, 15 years down the road, my career's done, and I say, hey, I helped build that, and we have young anglers that are enjoying that. That's something that I would want to do in my career.
All right. One more question, then I'll send it to you, and you can wrap it up.
Probably the same question.
No. I guarantee you it's not.
It might be.
No,
it might be.
I'm curious. Do you ever do the saltwater thing?
That was not mine.
Do you ever do the saltwater?
I don't, man. I never have really gotten into the salt.
Really?
So supposedly, going to saltwater fish between freshwater is supposed to make you a better freshwater angler, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
No,
but
and
you haven't went down.
No, and the salt's close to me. I can get to the salt in an hour and a half from my house.
You've done it though, right? I mean,
yeah, I've done it when I was a kid and things like that, but I don't do it.
Huh.
Have you ever heard of a tournament, like a 2-day event where one day is on saltwater and the second day is on freshwater, or vice versa, and they take a combination of how you finish on both?
Well,
Has
like
that
a
ever
redfish
happened?
largemouth tournament?
Yeah.
Like in Venice or something?
Well, out on the West Coast, though.
You could do that on the West Coast, right? Because you can go out and catch rock. I guess you'd have to decide what fish you were going to catch, but you
could catch calico,
right?
Yeah.
And then the next day, down in that like San Diego area, you could get your bass boat out and go bass fishing. I mean, that
would be cool.
That's a good AFCO. That could be a good throw.
I like that
to AFCO, because those guys catch some calicos.
Yeah, exactly. That would be cool to do. All right, Matt.
And this question's going to shock Jeffries after this show. So I'm sitting here, and I'll just be honest. So I'm sitting here going, man, I would love to fish this format. Like, this would be something that if I could fit in. So it's a 2-part question real quick. One, like if I am from Oklahoma or Texas and I'm like, this floats my boat, how do you qualify for it now?
Well, so currently there's only one division that is between Cali and Washington that you can qualify for. So you'd have to sign up for the Wild West Pro-Am Pro-Ams, and then you have to finish in the top 10 of AOY. They're currently still they will work down the field to build our field, but there are plans, and there was almost a plan that was executed to expand the divisions within the Wild West Pro-Am. So what I would tell you, Matt, is someone in Oklahoma or Texas, or anywhere of those 12, hang tight. It's coming. It's not just going to be a California tour. When this thing is built, it's going to look. I would say that it's going to, other than the format, it's going to very much like the Elite Series is.
Cool.
All right. So this is the next question then. I feel like if you're a California angler, you're dealing with California anglers, are you paying like $8 a gallon to fill your boat up? And like, what is the cost to fish these things out there right now? Because in my mind, being in Oklahoma and seeing all this, I'm like, holy cow, you guys are spending like $300 to fill your boat gas up. Then you're getting taxed on your tournament winnings. It's like impossible to drive anywhere. Is it like a nightmare out there right now or is this like overblown to where you're like, hey, you can drive 20 minutes and get $3 gas like it is everywhere else?
No, probably the cheapest place to get gas would be like at Arco, and it's $4.79 a gallon.
So when you're running these tournaments, you're putting it's costing you $250, $300 to fill up your tank of your boat.
Yeah, so I fish the Delta, like Dutra and I were talking after each day, and he ran like 150 miles on the Delta on day one. I ran like I ran like 110. So I put each day of the Delta Pro-Am event, I put about 160 a day just in my boat. So 3 days in a row. And that doesn't include, the truck fuel and things like that. There's some more challenges, but, I always tell people, things do cost more out here, but also, the general salary is more too. So it's somewhat percentage wise, so it feels like we put $160 of gas in, and you're in Oklahoma going, oh my God, I'm only have to put 90 in, but it's also percentage wise based on what salary you make and what somebody that does the same job you do make out here. So
I gotcha.
Obviously expenses is a real thing. There's a lot of great anglers that either can't or don't have the partnerships to offset some of those costs, so they never get to showcase their talents. But that's the cost of admission, as you guys well know. It's there's a lot of great anglers. You guys were talking about anglers that came and went and tore it up and then left for whatever reasons, and that's part of it. Is you do have to have the financial support either with yourself or with some partners to offset your expenses to really showcase your talents.
And then, how serious is the water crisis out there? Like, are all these lakes like super low? Obviously, we saw what went on with the U.S. Open and how they had to change all that. But is that something that is affecting like all of your tournament lakes out in California?
Yeah, the simple answer is yes. But it's not. Don't let the mainstream media overhype things like they do. You can still launch at Berryessa. You can still launch at Clear Lake. We thought Clear Lake was going to close, but there was a launch ramp that stayed open the entire time. And that rain we had 2 weeks ago had raised it a little bit. Oroville you couldn't launch there for about 2 months. Shasta, you can launch there all year. So yeah, they're low for sure. We do need the rain, but there's always water, at the Delta. So let's go.
I also had to Google what the hell the Thermalito After Bay was, and it's Orville. Did you know that, Mark?
I did not.
Yeah, it's just a little lake that's made, and they put water in it. It's shallower. They put water in it to warm up, so that way they can throw it back into the river, so that the farmers have warmer water to irrigate their crops. Because if they use the water at the bottom of Oroville, I guess it comes out like in the low 50s or high 40s, and it'll kill their crops.
So could you run to Orville, or were you stuck in this little Thermalito?
No, stuck right there for 3 days.
Wow.
Really? Which is one of the beauties of having such a small field. You can go to little places like this.
Yeah, and that's the goal, really, of Apex, is to get to these more rural towns with these smaller lakes, kind of like what they do with the cups, right? They can take 20 anglers, and go to these bodies of water that people haven't heard of. And what I love about it is most of us have never been there. So there is no history. You got to show up, and the best angler that figures them out that minute, that day, for those 8 hours, that's who's going to win.
Look at the shape of this thing, Mark. It's like one side is like kind of looks marshy, and then the other side is just like an L. It's just like is it just like 10 miles of riprap, or is it smaller than that?
No, there's a lot of riprap. No, there's probably it might be 8 or 10 miles.
It's just like straight 62 on one side, East Hamilton Road on the other, just boom, boom, and then the other side looks like a lake, but that's a crazy looking pond.
Wow.
Yeah, it really sets up like Clear Lake and the Delta together. It doesn't have the tide the Delta has, but with the tules and grass grows in that lake in the summer. So obviously, anytime there's grass and tules, I'm going to feel at home.
Nice. Well, Matt and I both agree that the feat that you accomplished is probably not going to be repeated. Especially
3 wins this year, too.
Yeah, from one day to the next day, trophies, money. I'm sure you have a good relationship with your banker right now.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to buy some stuff because, I definitely had one of those career years, and But I appreciate you guys covering us. We're
Yeah.
I think with the with what's going on out here and with the advent of Apex, I think you're going to see more and more prominent anglers that are going to come into our field, and hopefully that will obligate / force you guys to cover us more, and you guys have viewers out here and listeners.
Yeah. It's cool.
Dude, what do you remember about the World Series of Bass?
Joe Habib.
I talk about that every chance I get. I don't know if we've ever actually talked about it on the show.
You know what I think about is you think about how did they pick, look at Biggs, look at Brandon, look at Tyler, look at Salzy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's going to the Bass Pro Tour. Look at you.
Yep.
It's like how did they, through a video, pick that many prominent or like up and comers?
People are still in the industry.
Yeah.
Travis Murray.
Travis, same thing, So that's what I think about. I mean, it was a group of tremendous people, and then you do think about some of the defunct stuff about it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Did you get a sketchy vibe during the whole week ever when we had that back then? I remember there were a couple times where I was like, I didn't really think through this
Something's just not right.
I think they were ahead of their time and didn't have the full plan and especially the funds to see it through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think there could ever be a niche? Because I feel like that exists. Being a former casting kid and being in it is a reality show for those you don't know, and it was part of like this bigger thing where he was trying to basically make tournament fishing like poker, where you had like $10,000 buy-ins to these big tournaments, and they were going to build all this crazy stuff, and nothing ever happened. He fell off the face of the earth. But one of the elements of it was this 8-person reality show where we did skills challenges on Grand Lake. We did skills challenges, casting accuracy, numbers, inches, certain baits, only certain parts of the lake, and then every show was it. So it was basically like The Bachelor for fishing or Big Break and golf for fishing, and then the lowest person gets kicked off to where it just goes down to 7 and 6 and 5 and 4. But I think there's some way, if you could do it correctly, do you think there's a market for that type of reality elimination style competition to where it would be beneficial and actually a money maker in the industry now, or is it just too small to bring that back? Do you think the interest is there? Like, I mean, conceptually, it's something that I'm super interested in, but is it because that's all I do is fish?
Yeah, I don't think there's not enough drama. We'd have to fight in between making casts or something.
I think just to do it right, it costs too much money.
It does.
I think really, because you could have done it with us. You put us all in it, and then you're only doing that because, I mean, and the right group. But especially in that tournament fishing, because we've seen the fishing deals where like they do. What was that one that Drew applied for?
Yeah,
it
didn't make it anywhere.
But that was just like not hardcore tournament fishing. That was just fishing in general, where they would eliminate an angler, some dude who might be like an offshore guy or a bass fisherman or whatever. What are you twisting over there?
Nothing.
It sounds like a mouse.
No.
Just going. You didn't hear that?
No. No, not at all.
I think there's a place for that. That was hard to believe that was 10 years ago, but I think it'd have to be done correctly.
All right, Ken, man, great job this year so far, and we'll get you back on, man. We want to see you do well next year. We'll get you back on and talk a little more West Coast vibe with you.
Yeah, anytime. Appreciate you guys. Like I said, appreciate you, covering the region, and keep coming. We're gonna build it. Keep coming.
All right, man. Sounds good. All right, man. Good luck. Have a great holiday too.
Take care.
See you.
All right. See you.
Yeah, that was the other one.
There
Top Shot. Top Shot was awesome. I watched Top Shot, and I don't even shoot. I've been to a shooting range twice, and I watched all the Top Shot when it was on.
We might have been the last two people to see Joe Habib.
I don't think we might have. You were. You and Dave. You dropped him off at an airport.
Oh, you weren't with us?
No, I wasn't there.
Yeah, no. We
You
dropped him off
at the casino in
at
Tulsa?
the Hard Rock Casino in Tulsa. That's the last time we
After
ever saw him.
Fish and Chips 8-9 years ago.
9 years ago. It was just weird. And then he just disappeared.
It was on NBC Sports every Tuesday at 9 a.m. is when that time slot was.
That's a highly viewed time slot there.
And then they ran all the episodes except the final one, which I was fine with because I was the one eliminated right before the finals. I was in third instead of second.
All right. We're going to take a final break, come back, wrap things up here on a Monday. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Pro-inspired, pro-designed. Tested and proven by legends on the water. Dominating the tournament trail for over 50 years. Everything you need, one legendary brand. Strike King.
Hey guys, Major League Fishing Pro, Jacob Wheeler here with my new Signature Series line of rods with Ducket Fishing. We have my 7.2 cranking rod right here. Crankbaits can be very fickle, and having the right, having a lot of tip can be too much, and having not enough tip can, lose a lot of fish. So you really got to be careful. If there's one or two techniques that I'm really adamant about having the perfect action is a crankbait, especially like a square bill, a DT6, those medium running crankbaits in the springtime when those fish's mouth are pretty tough. That's when I'm really on top of having my actions just perfect.
The Little John family of crankbaits designed by top tour pro John Cruz have excelled at catching bass in any condition for years. They all feature a flat-sided design and paint jobs that are seldom seen in mass production bait. The Little John family also expands with new rattling versions of the Little John 50 and Little John 50 MD. Both of these baits are proven fish catchers that will now be available in rattling versions for stained and muddy water. They feature the same great action and diving depths as the original 50 and MD sizes.
The Ned Rig. What rod should I be using with the Ned Rig? My favorite is the Denali Lithium multi-spin rod. It's our 7'4" length, great Ned Rig rod. It's got a great sensitive tip on it. It's long enough where I can make long casts, which you're usually fishing clear water with a Ned Rig, and it's got enough backbone to get those fish in. So check it out, Denali Lithium Series 7'4" multi-spin.
I've made my living on the water for over 20 years.
For 14 years.
For over 23 years.
I've worn a bunch of different clothing brands over the years. Some companies big.
And some companies small. All of them said they were making clothing for us.
But none of them knew us.
None of them were us. Except for one.
Except for one.
Except one. AFCO. AFCO.
AFCO. AFCO. Fishing isn't part of us. It is us.
Everyone, Brandon Polnick here. People always be asking me what I got tied on. And I'm like, X-Zone Lures. And they're like, Brandon, why you got X-Zone Lures tied on? And I'm like, let me show you why.
The bite.
Get out of there. Get out of there. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's freaking big. Get in here. Oh, God. Giant. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
I think you get the point.
All right, we are back on a Monday, wrapping things up. And would you be willing to drive to California to dip your toes in that pool?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, I mean, that format, I would love to fish that format.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I like catching the five.
Kind of pricey, though. Kind of pricey.
That's what I was saying. Like, it's not feasible to do that in its current form.
Do you think that's something that tournament organizations, the smaller ones, the regional, local guys, might try and duplicate?
Yeah, definitely. Why do you think the West Coast is like, I was thinking of this during commercial break. So look at that format that they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. And then like how many unique or progressive techniques come out of the West Coast? Why do you think that that's the genesis of so much stuff? Like, why not?
Is it the waters? Is it?
That's what I'm asking. Why not like Massachusetts or Georgia? And I know you could pick it, but as a whole, there's so much.
I just think it's a combination of the people and the venues. And when you put the brilliant minds that exist in creativeness on the water and trying different things, and you put that in combination with the variety that you have out there, you have deep, clear lakes, you have obviously the delta, tidal waters and different things, and Clear Lake and everything else out there, that you take those two things, you mix them together, and that's how you come out with some brilliant concepts that come out of the West Coast.
Okay, so answer me this.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the greatest pure power fisherman to come out of the West Coast? Who is in tournaments and stuff? So obviously you got to go with D. Thomas with the flipping, right?
Yeah.
Like that'd be straight power. But I'm talking about a household name
from the
longevity power fishing.
It would be Gary Klein. It'd be Gary Klein. A lot of people don't realize he was a West Coast guy.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm
thinking not ish.
Well, he did he not have the longest classic streak in the history of the game? Is that true?
Gary Klein, as far as I think Klun did at 29 or 32 or something like that.
What was it?
I don't know. I'm trying to pull it up. I'm 50-50 on whether Gary Klein's link on Bassmaster is functional, Mark.
Yeah.
It's thinking. It did it.
I know Klun had
he has 30 classic appearances. And Gary Klein is a flipper.
Yeah. He's a power fisherman.
He is a power fisher. That's a good one. I would not have thought that, but that 100% is.
He was really, really into what D. Thomas was doing, too, at the time. And there was a period there.
He missed. I don't see the 2001 Classic on here.
And remember, you said power fishing.
Yeah, no, that's it, because everyone wants to talk about finesse fishing.
Yeah.
That's like there's several Japanese anglers who get grouped into a finesse guru stuff, and they're like, no. I like to power fish. Marizo's like that. Hated finesse fishing. Straight power fisherman.
Yeah. The other guy that kind of gets forgotten because he did move to Texas is Jay Ellis. You know, he's a West Coast guy for a long time.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, there's a whole group of guys who come out of the the Delta and stuff, but you just don't think of that. Yeah. But Dean's never been afraid of the spinning rod. But I mean, the Frog is total power.
Yeah. But from a longevity standpoint, I would have to say Gary Klein.
I would say you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a rarity. But
has Gary ever won anything on a spinning rod?
I don't know.
He's got a spinning rod in his lineup.
Well,
like Gary Klein
he likes fishing that way, but from a pure power technique perspective, that's kind of what he cut his teeth on.
And ish.
Oh,
Fred Urbanus. Fred Urbanus would be a good one.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he doesn't have like
the streak. But Klein's been doing it longer.
He doesn't have the streak. He does have. Urbanus has a win, but I mean, you talk swim bait and frog and jig.
No, I agree.
Like Fred's not a dinker and dunker.
Ish.
You
know, as somebody mentioned on the comments, Aaron Martins. Yeah, he was a power guy too, right. But he was more renowned for his finesse techniques.
Skeet's pretty versatile.
He can do everything.
I would consider Skeet way more of a power fisherman than a finesse fisherman.
Agree. Yeah.
Roy Hawk. What is his style?
That's a good question. Is it a mixture of both?
I have no idea.
Versatile. I think he's pretty versatile.
And what about John Murray? He's a finesse guy and a power guy.
He's both.
But he's definitely has some finesse. I mean, the guy had a video of him putting 3 flukes on a treble hook and shaking it on 6-pound test.
Does he have 3 U.S. Open wins? Is that right?
I'm not sure.
3 or 2?
Cliff Perch. Yeah, he's finessey. Bertrand.
I'm sticking with Klein. I think.
I think you nailed it off the hopper.
Yeah.
Tournament wise, just pure power. I mean, you cannot get any more than D.
No, I agree.
That's an interesting question.
It is.
Have we ever asked that?
I don't think so.
Where would you put Velvic with the swim baits? Is that considered power, or is that an outlier?
I mean, swim baits, that was his gig, man. That was his jam. That's what he really, 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 really was into and really excelled
I guess
at.
that's an outlier.
Heck, did he win at Guntersville or came close to winning at Guntersville on a swim bait?
Yeah, he almost came close, I think. You remember I think that was when the ski won on the swim bait.
Yeah.
The big giant bass tricks.
Yeah.
And he was fishing the glide and stuff on the current shoots.
I just remember Velvic fishing that one stretch that's directly across from the state park area that was very bluffy, and those fish were just staged on those bluff ledges, and he was throwing that swim bait.
I feel like we're missing someone. Ayler, nah. They're finesse. Like I said, there's a finesse stigma about the West Coast guys.
Yeah.
Are there any flat build wearing power fishermen? That's the true combo.
I'd have to think about that one. I off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody. Really can't.
That's like the unicorn.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're going to get all sorts of messages about this guy and that guy.
You know, there's probably.
Did I ever tell you the
somebody
story
out
of the
there.
first time I ever saw a Whopper Plopper?
No.
Ever?
No.
It's on the California Delta. It would have been 20. When they go out there? 2015? Is that the one that Lucas won out there?
Think so.
And remember, we were doing Duck It on tour, so I followed a guy around during practice. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody had 30-day off limits and stuff, so guys could get
Yeah.
info and all that. And I go out with, Brett Height's a good one.
Yes.
He's a power fisherman.
Yes.
No, Brett's also a drop shotter guy. I wouldn't consider him a pure power guy.
Zaldane?
No, finesse.
No.
And power. But you know what I mean. The guy
Yeah.
who does, Brett's, he's had the egg beater too much to be considered a pure power.
Whopper Plopper.
So, this was early. Yeah, it would have been earlier in 2015 because it didn't blow up to the fall of 2015 with Watson and Clun and all them on Table Rock.
Yep.
Oh, God, this story comes back full circle, Mark, because it comes to the U.S. Open that we started on Table Rock.
Yeah.
But I fished that year, the Opens. And anyway, so we go out to the Delta, and I'm doing the Duck It on tour. Remember? I would film that. And I'm out on a practice day with Byron Velvic. And we're over by wherever... I remember the area we were in. It was over by where the seal sat on the channel marker buoy. Remember those 3 seals that owned that channel marker buoy? We were over there, and he's like, man, I can't. He's gotten a few bites. He's throwing the big baits. He was walking some docks, looking at spawners and stuff that time of year. It's like just vintage, what you'd expect to do. And he's like, I gotta try this thing. And he's like, pulls it out, and it's the 190. The big one, the one like musky looking one. And he's like, he's like, this thing looks ridiculous. And he's like, but apparently this is what all the tournaments are getting won on out here. He ties it up on braid and that big swim bait rod he had. And I mean, it's like 6-7 inches long.
Yeah.
He made like maybe 15 or 20 casts with it. And he's doing the same thing, stopping it to it, figuring out, bloop, 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 dude.
The rhythm.
Like just trying to get through his head. And I'm sitting there looking at it going, okay. Because remember, it had come out at ICAST a couple years before, and he was like, yeah, I don't get it. And he just put it back in his rod box. And that was the first time I'd ever seen the Whopper Plopper was doing
the rest is history.
Duck It on tour with, remember that tournament hurt him too, I think. Didn't he hit a wake while he was running out of the Sacramento River and then didn't fish the rest of the year?
Yeah, he had back issues.
Yeah, but that was the first time I'd seen it, the 190. Whopper Plopper with Velvic on the California Delta.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was
the other thing I remember is didn't we go out with Dano a couple days there? Whoever we were with our boat driver, I remember just mowed.
I think it was Dano.
Just in those canals, those people would set up like lines, and the berms and stuff are way above the water line.
Yeah.
So you've got this big angle, and they'd cast their catfish rigs out there. And we burned around a corner and just ate up about a dozen catfish lines. I mean, you look back and it's just carnage behind the boat on the bank of everyone scrambling. We just kept right on going.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. Wow. Anyway, good stuff, though. Glad that Ken Mah could make the show. It's a little bit earlier, obviously, on the West Coast when we do this at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. So
Yeah.
appreciate him coming on. And then tomorrow, who do we have on?
Andrew Loberg.
Oh, back-to-backs on the West Coast,
Yeah,
right?
I told you I'm trying to do a theme thing.
I like it. And then, folks, next week is Thanksgiving week. We are taking a Thanksgiving break. We will not do a show the week of Thanksgiving, and then we will show back up. I think it's the first Monday of December, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't have a calendar in front of me.
Yeah.
But we will be back the Monday after Thanksgiving break and jump right back to it. So, what'd you say the water temp was?
Like 53.
You think that's kind of the standard around here?
Yeah.
Lower 50s?
Yeah, they caught them really good. They had the Lauderlast bass this past weekend, and there were a lot of big fish caught.
Really?
Yeah.
What did it take to win? You remember?
I don't know. I saw some dude like 10 or 12. I know Justin Phillips caught him really good in it. I don't know what it took to win.
He lives on Eufaula, does he not?
Yeah, don't you remember the story I told last week?
Yeah. Yeah, HFA, baby. This time of the year, too. It's good stuff. All right, man. We will be back tomorrow. And I'm intrigued by this whole $1 million thing
I don't know.
that's
I
going
can't
down.
find the... All I know is in this lauder tournament, like if you do really well, you have to go down. I think they like take you in a van to the police station for your lie detector. That's not a joke. Like as they're waiting around, they like round the big bass and first and second and third or whatever up, and they take them in the wagon down to the station to do the. Because we almost did it really. We like me and Fred Kintawi like top. I mean, we got like sixth one year.
Yeah.
And it was the determination like. Is Fred or am I going to go? And then we got knocked out of it. But I think
the paddy wagon.
Yeah, they take you down to the station for your lie detector. At least back in the day, like 6 years ago, that they did. I know that was. I would be curious to see if that was still.
That's interesting.
How they handled that.
All right, everybody, have a great start to the week. Matt and I will be back tomorrow, same time, right here. And don't forget, if you're listening to us on iTunes, please leave us a review and give us a ranking. It helps us out immensely. That's it. Everybody be safe. We're out of here.